everybody. Happy Tuesday. We have another fantastic episode today. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. Let me just welcome. I see somebody joined. Hey, Joel Polk. If you join during a live stream, you'll get a shout out when you join. There's also a section at the very end for us to talk. The way these things work is that we'll do the 3 stories of the day, then we'll do a 10-minute Ask Me Anything, and then I do a couple of shout-outs before signing off. I will be reviewing Army of the Dead tomorrow morning, and there's also a Forever Purge trailer dropping tomorrow as well. I'm still waiting on a couple of other screeners, hopefully, to be able to review for the end of the week, and also, as I said, my Halston review will go up on Friday when the embargo lifts. Hey, Zach Chobanov and JD Shady. So nice to see everybody. Okay, so let's get started on those 3 stories, and I'll be looking at your comments as I talk. All right, here we go. It's very sunny. Very sunny. Because with the summer coming into summer, good to have you back, Zach. It changes when the sun sets and everything, and when it gets very sunny, and I just don't know what I'm going to get. That's why most people don't shoot with a window. But I welcome the challenge. Hey, Brian Robertson, thanks for joining. All right, you have a mask on and your emoji there. I love it. All right, so hey, Johnny Jarko. Story number 1. Boop. Okay. So, Knives Out. I didn't get to talk about Dave Bautista yesterday. I was saving it for today. And what do you know? We got another cast member today to add to the discussion. I suspect we'll be talking about Knives Out for a little bit because they have so many cast members to put together. Because he's assembling an all-star cast. So let's just give a little background on Knives Out again. That was the best image, I think, from the first movie. I loved that, with Daniel Craig in front of that knives sculpture. But anyway, Knives Out has become a huge success. Not only was it a big box office hit for Lionsgate, but then there's the 3 producers on the project are Rian Johnson, Daniel Craig actually is a producer. He wanted to do an Agatha Christie type project. It was his idea to do that first, and then Rian Johnson came on board afterwards. And then there's a producer who works with Johnson, and that guy floated out the idea of seeing if he could get somebody else to pick it up and do a bidding war for it. And of course, as you know, Netflix paid over $400 million for Knives Out 2 and 3. So Lionsgate was like, what? I did so much to promote and launch your movie. Well, you should have signed them for a deal. You should have put a ring on it, Lionsgate, because now they're over at Netflix. And as we've discussed before, I think I at least tweeted about it, Rian Johnson, Daniel Craig, and this other producer are all set to at least make $100 million each from the deal. That's insane. Hey, David Monson. That's so much money. That's incredible. All right, so since these are going to be released on Netflix, we'll never actually have any idea how they do either, which I think is a little odd. That's going to be weird. We're like, did anyone go to see this? I guess we'll just be able to tell by how much people are talking about it, right? Now, so yes, they want to assemble an all-star cast because the first movie was, in the vein of Grand Hotel or Murder on the Orient Express, all the versions of that movie. Death on the Nile tried to do that as well, but then they unfortunately had one of those stars be Armie Hammer, and now I don't think that movie will probably ever come out. We'll see. But anyway, Dave Bautista joined the cast yesterday. That's very interesting. I think he's an interesting pick. Netflix is really getting into the Dave Bautista business, which is fascinating to me because Amazon wanted to get into the Dave Bautista business after they purchased My Spy, where he was, with that little girl, Chloe Coleman. Great movie. They were like, we want to do another one. And I think, Dave Bautista was like, that's not the kind of movie I'm interested in making for the rest of my life. Netflix was like, how'd you like to make Army of the Dead? How'd you like to be in Knives Out 2? And Dave Bautista's like, now that's what I'm talking about. It was interesting. He recently revealed that James Gunn had written a role specifically for him for Suicide Squad, his Suicide Squad. And Dave Bautista said, Netflix is offering more money. Dave Bautista's got to do what Dave Bautista's got to do. He's a very frank individual. And I have to say, he really did back James Gunn, but I thought that was pretty funny that he was, it just goes to show that Dave Bautista just does what he thinks is right, for himself included, and he never has any ulterior motives. So, good for him. This is working out very well for him. Hey, Alessio Bracco, thanks for joining. So, That's a very sweet thing to say, David. That's very nice. That's why you wanted to join. So Dave Bautista is going to be in there. And now Edward Norton has joined. Now, I like Edward Norton. I think Edward Norton is a very good actor. And in fact, when I saw Motherless Brooklyn, I was like, Edward Norton's very talented. I wish just someone would tell him no. And I'll be interested to see what Rian Johnson, how he feels it is working with another person who's a writer-director. Because Edward Norton has a lot of ideas. I'll never forget that I was invited to the New York Film Festival. This was the closing night film, and it had a beautiful gala party. I'll never forget it. It was one of the coolest Critics' Choice. I only got to do 1 year of Critics' Choice screenings because last year was the pandemic. But it was incredible. I took pictures of it there on my Instagram account. I think I tweeted them too. But at the beginning, the movie was like awful. But anyway, at the beginning, hey, William Jennings, hey, I ready. But Edward Norton gave a speech at the beginning, and he was like, I'm so happy that I was allowed to do whatever I wanted on this movie. And I think, Warner Brothers was a studio, and he's like, I just really appreciate that they just believe in me so much. And I'm like, someone should have told you no, Edward. Someone should have told you no and saved you a bunch of embarrassment. Because, the film just had so many problems, which I think could have easily been fixed. And Edward Norton seemed so unaware of them that it was weird. So I will always think of that whenever I think of Edward Norton. All right, so anyway, though, this is a pretty good cast. I think that it's still not great. He doesn't have his Chris Evans yet. He needs someone who's going to blow this thing up, who comes from a big franchise that everyone's like, that gets all the fans excited. Like film fans will get excited about Dave. I guess maybe he thinks that might be Dave Bautista, but I'll tell you right now, it's not Dave Bautista. He needs someone who's like a Chris Evans, and he doesn't have that person just yet. Timothée Chalamet is not a bad choice, Barbie Minaj. Although Timothée Chalamet has yet to have a box office success. Let's see how Dune does. Ana de Armas wasn't really that big when the movie came out at first. I think Knives Out helped her, in fact. I'm talking about someone who gets like super excited. Adam Driver is also an excellent choice, Lisa, and I agree with you. That's easy for you to say. That's a funny name. I agree. Henry Cavill. Oh, yeah, Henry Cavill's got nothing to do. Henry Cavill would be a fantastic choice. I think Adam Driver is too busy. And I think Timothée Chalamet doesn't guarantee as strong a success. Henry Cavill would be perfect. Henry Cavill is actually a brilliant idea. And he's also already at Netflix with The Witcher. So I would be all in on that. And I think that they should really work to sign him because that would be incredible. That's who it should be. It should be Henry Cavill. That would be fantastic. That would be great. You guys solved it. I love it. Elizabeth Olsen would also be a great choice. Daniel Montalvo. I think she'd be very good. I think Zendaya is a little too busy for this, Jeremiah. I think she's a similar vein. But I think that, Zendaya, Tom Holland would work, but he's extremely busy. But I think Henry Cavill, I think you guys really hit the nail on the head. I like the Henry Cavill one a lot. So anyway, this one will take place. Now, the first one took place in Massachusetts and it had the most wonderful production design I've ever seen. It was like being wrapped in a fall murder mystery book. It was incredible. And as you might recall, it came out for Thanksgiving weekend. And it was every person's Thanksgiving movie on the face of the earth. I know that I went. Michael B. Jordan's also a good choice, Mikey Bray. And I do agree they have to make sure they have a little bit more diversity. Hopefully they can do that. But anyway, I thought that, I don't know about you. Did anyone else see Knives Out for Thanksgiving? I just thought that was wonderful. I absolutely loved it. You guys are still casting the movie. You guys are so much fun. I love it. But I saw it for Thanksgiving weekend. It was my second time that I saw it. I did not care for it very much, to be honest with you. But I still liked watching it because of the theming. It just was so cozy. I see a lot of you saw it for Thanksgiving. Yeah, it was a great holiday movie. William Jennings says it's the best Thanksgiving movie. I think you might be right. It was just an absolutely incredible holiday film. That was just what was so great about it. And even though I didn't like the twist, that's Rian Johnson for you, subverting expectations. And I was like, I don't care for how you've decided to tell this mystery. But still, it was incredible. Now, for the second movie, they're filming it in Greece this summer. So he's going, I guess, for like a Mamma Mia vibe. That, to me, is a very interesting change. When will it come out? I don't think it's going to come out for Thanksgiving because it has to feel like the holiday. So would it therefore be like a summer movie? But I mean, that's on Netflix. So I'm just not quite sure how this is going to work. I think that Knives Out was a pretty good movie, to be honest with you. The big thing about it was the way the film looked and who was in it. I did not think the mystery was very good. But I think if you can't replicate giving someone a reason to go and see something for the holidays, I think that's going to be a little bit tough for the movie to replicate that success. Valentine's Day or Mother's Day, that's pretty good. But at the same time, this was something to go and see in theaters. This is now you're going to be watching it at home. Although, let's see how Army of the Dead does in theaters this weekend. This could be a big break for Netflix. Let's see how many, because, and also, it's only a week until you can see it at home for Netflix. So how many of you think you might go see Army of the Dead this weekend in theaters? Memorial Day weekend, Jico, that could work. I don't know if it's going to play in theaters, but let's see what the test is. I would think with this cast and the success of the first movie, it looks like maybe a third of you or maybe a quarter of you are going to see it in the theater. But most of you are going to wait. Like usually I would do my spoiler review right away, but I'm not going to do a spoiler review till it hits Netflix because that's when I think most people are going to see it. Very interesting. We're going to have to look and see what that number looks like. Your local Alamo isn't playing it, Linda? They said they were booked in Alamo. That's insane. That's very interesting. All right, so that's the first story of the day. I think that the cast is off to a fine start, but they don't have their Chris Evans just yet. Let's see if they can get them. I hope it's Henry Cavill. That would be so great for him. Remember, when you get dumped by Warner Brothers, the best success is to go, the best revenge is to go and be very successful. And, Henry Cavill does have The Witcher, which I really love, and I think he's extremely good in it. So he just needs to get more projects. All right. Second story of the day. Boop. All right, so Stacey Abrams. I've become a big Stacey Abrams fan. I think she's extremely savvy politically, and she gets stuff done, which is rare for politicians. So good for her. I think she's a wonderful person. I know that she had been floated as a VP candidate in early days for Joe Biden, but unfortunately did not get the nod. But she has definitely become a star on the global stage. Now, something that's interesting about Stacey Abrams is that she's in fact an author and has been an author for a very long time. It's not like she's, capitalizing on her new level of success. She's been writing for a very, very long time. She started writing, I believe, out of law school, and she has published a number of books under the pseudonym Selena Montgomery. Isn't that fantastic? And some of them are romance novels. The last one she published was in 2009. And she's also written some nonfiction books, which have been bestsellers in the New York Times list. So she's a very, very good author. And I think that's important to realize because she's, I think, again, this is something she's worked really hard for, and she's built up a career of it. So she just came out with a book, another fiction book, and she put her real name on it. And it's called While Justice Sleeps. And it's about a woman who works for a Supreme Court justice. And when he finds himself in a coma, she gets sucked into a world of intrigue. I love it. And so, sure enough, this thing sparked a bidding war. Her star's name is Avery Keene. What a book name. I love it. And it got picked up. The bidding war was won by NBC Universal and Working Title. NBC Universal International. And Working Title, which I'm sure you've heard of, they do a lot of stuff out of they're a UK company, but they export a lot of stuff here. I'm sure you've seen Working Title in front of tons of stuff. Now, this is a really interesting trend. The Obamas have a Netflix deal. Harry and Meghan have a Netflix deal. William and Kate just launched a YouTube channel. You're seeing a lot of people who are in the political government spheres start to go into entertainment, which is interesting. We don't have any success stories just yet. But I bet you Stacey Abrams is poised to be, well, actually the Obamas documentary that they produced won an Oscar, I think like the year before. So they've had success. And the Obamas are largely producing. They're mostly behind the camera, except for that show that Michelle Obama is the star of, although I haven't heard too much about that. I do think that the YouTube channel is a bit beneath William and Kate, but they're doing it. So we'll see how it turns out for them. I mean, Brie Larson launched a YouTube channel, and it actually didn't turn out that successful. I mean, she has a couple of videos that do really well, but it hasn't, I think, maybe worked out the way she'd originally intended. So this, though, is going to be, they're going to do like a television. They didn't say what they were going to specifically do with this book. They said that they were going to bring the world of Avery Keene to viewers. And I thought that was a great idea. I think they're clearly investing, Josh, the Brie Larson YouTube channel sometimes does quite well, but it's not consistent. Some videos vastly underperform. So anyway, Avery Keene, I think, is clearly the deal is to make a lot of shows and movies based on Avery Keene, to blow that character up. And I think that's a really good idea. And I love the fact, nowhere in the description of the book does it focus on ethnicity. Stacey Abrams said she just wants to write really great characters that happen to look like her. And she says, that representation is important. And it is very important. I really get frustrated when people question, why it's so important. But, David Oyelowo, I don't know if you saw this interview that he recently did. David Oyelowo did a great interview. And he said the reason that he wanted to go behind the camera and do more directing was that he got cast. He'd already played Martin Luther King Jr., but he got cast in a movie, and his son was there visiting him on set. And he said, "Oh, so Dad, are you playing the best friend?" And he was so sad that was his son's assumption, and that it was a very reasonable assumption, that he felt that he should, create more roles where people of color are the lead, and I think that's really important. So, and Stacey Abrams says one of the things that inspired her to write was that she wanted to see more people like herself as the stars of books. And she said it had a big effect on her to see a black woman on the cover of a book when she was growing up. And I've had, as a woman, I remember when I saw Monsters vs. Aliens, and Reese Witherspoon's Ginormica saved the day, and she did the Superman flying pose at the end of the movie, and it actually made me break into tears. I was so happy to see it. So this stuff really matters. Hey, Chris Marr. And speaking of Brie Larson, in Avengers Endgame, when they have Tony Stark's AI says that a incredibly powerful object is moving towards the Earth and crashes through Thanos' ship, and it was Captain Marvel, that also brought tears to my eyes. I was so happy to see it. So this stuff's it's Gigantica. You're right. Thank you. I just really was so fantastic. So representation is incredibly important, and I'm so happy for Stacey Abrams. And I think that there's room for Avery Keene because no one's been able to replace Shonda Rhimes' Olivia Pope from Scandal. That character was, of course, incredibly successful, and so I think they have a chance to create a new character with Avery Keene. So it's fantastic. And I think good. I always talk to you about how important it is to diversify your portfolio. And so I'm so happy that Stacey Abrams is doing just that. All right. So that's the second story of the day. Hold on. All right. Third story of the day. Boom, baby. John Krasinski. Now, as we just discussed yesterday on Movie Math, he and Emily Blunt were upset they weren't getting enough money from A Quiet Place 2 because of the 45-day window. And sure enough, John Krasinski's agents did an excellent job because they got him a very sweet Paramount deal going forward. So I guess his agent was right when he said, I'm going to make him pay for A Quiet Place 3. So, John Krasinski's company called Sunday Night, that's the name of his production company, they signed a first look deal with Paramount. And interestingly enough, his first movie he'll be doing in the deal is that one with Ryan Reynolds, the untitled one. And Ryan Reynolds, as we just discussed, just signed a deal with Paramount. Now, John Krasinski's been at Paramount for a while, but Ryan Reynolds just came over there for the first time because the Fox people who are running Fox Studios, which was Ryan Reynolds' old home, have now moved over to Paramount, and they're running Paramount. So Ryan Reynolds came with them. So the movies that he has set, I was going to mention a little later, but I see Evan just mentioned some good news. That was a really smart idea. I think John Krasinski is a very clever businessman. And so I think he'd be a great person to do business with. And in fact, he has a couple of other movies set to come out with this deal. A Quiet Place 3 is part of the deal, although he'll no longer be directing. I guess his character is truly dead and no more flashbacks. As Jeff Nichols, who you might recall directed Mud and a bunch of those movies, he actually did a pretty good job. He'll be taking over as director. I think he's an excellent choice. And then Apartment 7A, which he's also co-producing with Michael Bay's Platinum Dunes. That's going to be directed by Natalie Erica James, who I believe comes out of a Sundance movie. And so they're going to be doing that. No word yet on who stars. And John Krasinski is just producing there. I think that sounds pretty good. Some of these movies might head to Paramount Plus. You know, Paramount Plus wants to get a movie a week, they said. That's their goal. And I think these kind of deals could certainly help that. So I think this is excellent. I think this is really, really good. Madeline, I agree. I don't really know if they can make any more Quiet Place movies, but let's see this new one and see where it leaves the story off. Maybe there'll be a really clear direction where they should go. Hey, TJ Williams. So, yeah, Doggomania. I gotta say, John Krasinski's dance card is getting awfully crowded. I don't think he's gonna do Fantastic Four. And as I told you, I heard that Kevin Feige was looking for someone some younger actors, and they weren't as well established. They want a Brie Larson type casting, someone who's very lauded critically, but does not have a big following just yet. So you get him for a little cheaper. Lloyd says, what happened to his YouTube news channel? He sold it. It was a bit scandalous at the time because people felt that he'd just used them for a pitch, which he kind of did, but you still enjoyed some good news. And he sold it, and it's supposed to have someone else as the host, but where is it? It seems to be stuck in development hell. It's surprising they can't turn it around faster. Brett says Carey Mulligan. I would love Carey Mulligan to be Sue Storm. I think she'd be fantastic. She'd be a great choice, and she's a very good choice. We'll see who gets her first. I would love for her to be Zatanna. I just really, really like Carey Mulligan after Promising Young Woman. I want her to get everything. All right, so those are the three stories of the day, and I'm very happy for John Krasinski. Again, I think he's very talented, and I think he's a very good businessman. All right, so it's 5:11. You may ask me anything you'd like until 5:21. Elliot Bullock says Stephen Yeun would be a great Reed Richards. You know, he would. And also Jason Ackers is saying, how about Riz Ahmed? These are all great choices. Someone should scoop up Stephen Yeun fast off of Invincible. And Minari? Why doesn't he have more work? I think he has something. I think he has one project he just signed on for, but he should be getting more. Let's see here. Alex Struther says, I would still love to see Rosamund Pike as Emma Frost. I think she would be incredible. She would have been a wonderful Emma Frost. Darn it. Oh, Javier said, thoughts on the Green Knight. Yeah, I didn't get to react to that trailer. A24 is a little difficult, so I don't always react to their trailers. I did watch it this morning. I thought that it looked very good, although I was like, man, I can't believe this guy's directing Peter Pan. I don't think he's going to be able to barf up fantasy. I'm a little worried about it. But there were points where I thought the movie looked stunning, and there were points when I was like, this looks a little boring. Matt Smith would be a great Reed Richards, but he's now in Game of Thrones. He's pretty busy. Madeline says, what are my thoughts on rebooting Bennifer? Well, you know, the heart wants what the heart wants. They weren't a particularly popular celebrity couple when they were a couple, which is interesting to me that everybody's looking at that through rose-colored glasses. I just want people to be happy, so I hope it's legit and not a publicity stunt. Let's see here. Mika, I don't like to talk about other people's reviews of movies that I'm going to review or shows. Lloyd Lesser said, Grace, what are your thoughts on Broadway reopening soon? Well, they're offering some really great deals. You know, I just don't know what's going to happen with coronavirus over the summer. They're opening in September, so we have to see how things look in late July. I mean, in my opinion, they said that singing in a closed room without your mask on is like the worst thing you could do. So that gives you some idea of how I feel about that. I had tickets to the Music Man, and I'm afraid we gave them back. My family gave them back. We first rescheduled them, but then they gave us the option to just refund them, and we were like, we don't really know what's going to happen, so we took them back. Rainbow Man, I'm not going to react to the Green Knight trailer, I'm afraid. But your enthusiasm makes me feel bad that I didn't. Brett D says, Death on the Nile is scheduled for next February. Do you think they'll dump it on Hulu? I think it might never see the light of day, to be honest with you. If you ever read Vanity Fair, I like Vanity Fair. I think the new editor of Vanity Fair has sucked all the glamour out of it, and I really don't like the visual style of the magazine anymore. But they have some of the best investigative articles I've ever seen. And on that note, they have something about the history of Armie Hammer's family, and it's pretty bad. But it was a riveting read, so I would recommend checking that out if you could. You know what else they have in Vanity? Oh no, New York Magazine, Vulture sent this out today. They have an article about how Zack Snyder replaced Chris D'Elia with Tig Notaro and how he did it technically and what the whole process was like, with some insight from her about how she felt about getting the call, and it was very, very good. Patrick, I'm sorry you were excited for Death on the Nile, but Armie Hammer is like smack in the middle of it, and he's like got real problems. Let's see here. Who asked me that? Hey, fellow Grace. Grace Marie says, Grace, have you been watching any reality TV lately? No, I haven't. My real reality TV guilty pleasure was Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I loved that show. But I was pretty upset with the way the Housewives treated Denise Richards. I thought it was really appalling, and I thought it went too far. I mean, I was pretty upset about what happened with Lisa Vanderpump already. Yes, I do watch these shows. I was pretty upset with how Lisa Vanderpump had been treated, and I thought Denise Richards was just a step too far. So I am not watching that show anymore. I'm giving it up. I just won't watch it. I won't do it. Let's see here. Would you still cast Lady Gaga? Who said that? JP123 says, would you still cast Lady Gaga as Poison Ivy in the DCEU? Well, most recently I'd said that Ana de Armas was my choice. I think they need to race bend the character. I think with today's audiences, I wouldn't go with a white Harley Quinn and a white Poison Ivy. I don't think it's necessary. And I think that, when you think about Brazil and in the rainforest, and, also Africa with the, with all this, all the life that's teeming there, those are the places that I think to go in either direction. Let's see here. Marvelous says, Grace, will you watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills if they get rid of Lisa Rinna? I think they'd have to get rid of Lisa Rinna and Erica at this point. But Lisa Rinna, if they got rid of Lisa Rinna, I would be like, okay, I'll meet you halfway and I'll watch it. But Lisa Rinna would be the one who I would have to go. I thought she's just too horrible. Barbie Minaj says, what are your thoughts on the House of the Dragon first look? It's a lot of white hair, boy. I'm excited. I thought they had an African-American character with white dreadlocks who I thought looked super cool. But I don't follow the Game of Thrones books, so I don't, it's like some people are like, oh, it's that character from this book. And I review the shows like from a layman's perspective. So it's harder for me to cover. Like when they have like trailers and stuff, I'll definitely be covering it then. But first look photos are a little difficult to cover. It's like, here are some people on a medieval beach. Here are some people on a medieval rock. And so it's a little harder to get all excited about it. Sufjan, I'm sure there will be a final trailer for Loki. Who asked that about Zac Efron? Ivan Sarmiento says, thoughts on Zac Efron's opinions about his face. Is that going to affect his career? Did he say anything? I don't know what's going on with Zac Efron. I hope he's okay. Maybe he just was having a bad day. I really like Zac Efron. I think he's very talented. But he doesn't really have a career right now, which I get concerned as to why maybe he might have done that to himself. But again, we don't know what's going on with him. I just hope he's okay, and I want him to be happy. I want everyone in life to be happy. Dimitri says Loki watch-along plans. We'll do them. Whenever that show frickin' drops, we'll be watching Loki together. Oh, I don't know. The 3 a.m. on a Wednesday, this is going to be, it'll be an interesting experiment. I have to go to sleep at 8 o'clock at night to effectively do this. It'll be even more important now that it's in the middle of the week. So there go my Tuesday nights. See here. Brian, I have not confirmed the Loki drop time. They have not specified it, although maybe they will stick. I mean, here's the thing. The reason they have trouble moving the Loki drop time is that it's a global show. And I know a number of you who don't live in the United States, it's a great time for you. So those people, you're going to get very upset if it gets moved. So, because it'll be not good for you. So I think that's something so they're a little bit stuck. So it will be interesting to see what they decide to do. Like ES says, it's 10 a.m. for me. I love it. Oh, we got one more minute. Ashley Grady says, what will be your first McDonald's order when you go back? Chicken nuggets. I like the medium 10-piece chicken nuggets meal with ranch sauce. That's the ticket. Let's see, someone just asked me that. Dax Symbiote said, did you want to concentrate on comic movies at film school? No. When I read comics when I was in film school, I think that, film school does not do anybody any favors if they tell people to focus on commercial films. You can go on and become a commercial director, but that's not the best way to start your career. Look at everybody that Marvel is hiring and DC is hiring. They go and they make art house projects first. Then they get attention, and then a big blockbuster picks them up. That's the route that you have to really be smart and look at the other path. I mean, there's no path in Hollywood forward is the same, but there are similarities. There are patterns. Hollywood likes to do what works, and that's what works right now. You go make a successful movie on an independent circuit, you get a lot of press and good reviews, and then a big studio comes calling, and that's really usually the way it works. Unless you're a writer, then you can work your way up that way. You should look and see who's directing and writing these projects that you want to eventually work on and see how they made their way through. You also really need representation. Representation is really important. Oh, okay, I'll do 2 more questions and then we'll just do some shout outs. Johnny Jarko says, who's your favorite director at the moment? I will always have a special place in my heart for Alfred Hitchcock. I'm a big Alfred Hitchcock fan. I love his Technicolor mysteries. I'm just a huge fan of his work. Oh, that's a good question. Alexander Valentine says, well, that's Michael McKennis. I'll do your question too, Alexander. Michael McKenna says, how's the BTT merch coming along? Very nicely. We're in the end stages of the design phase, and I hope to be launching pretty soon. Like in a month maybe. I don't want to make you think it's right around the corner. It takes longer than you would think. We're going to launch with just 2 designs, and then we'll slowly grow it out. That's how I've been told is the best way to do it over time. So I think like every 2 months you're supposed to add a new design. So we're working on it, although considering how long it takes to do a design, we'll probably start working on the new design right away. So Alexander says, any advice for someone moving to New York City? Have a plan. You should have a plan before you do anything. You should think it out. I mean, I think there's something to be said for doing some things just at the spur of the moment or when inspiration when it grabs you. But if you usually make a plan, you'll probably be in a pretty good place to occasionally do a spur of the moment thing. So that's my advice. Investigate what you want to do, why you want to move here, where you want to live, what that's going to look like, what all that stuff. I think that stuff's all really important. Steven says, I moved to New York City with no job. That's pretty funny, Steven. I'm just working out for you. All right, so New York City apartments have a wide range, like any city. I'd say New York City is probably on the same level of living as any big city, especially on the coasts. Although, because of the pandemic, there are now so many wonderful places to live. People are spreading out because they're seeing they can work from anywhere digitally, which I think is very interesting. All right, so let's do a couple of shout outs. So just tell me what you're up to. What are you doing? Where are you? What are you eating? What have you been doing? Do you have anything big in your life that's just happened? Anything small? Alexander Valentine says he'll be living in Chelsea. That's a great neighborhood. You'll love it. Keith says, I work on a small break, and I thought I'd say hi. Hi, Keith. Noah Ryan says, sitting in sunny Seattle waiting for my first vaccine shot. Congratulations. I'm fully vaccinated. I'm so glad I did it. Oh, Sufyan, yes, definitely. Our hearts go out to everybody in that region. I'm very sad to hear that. I'd hoped progress had been made. Let's see here. Jesse the Good Witch says, hi from San Diego. It was my birthday on Saturday. Happy belated birthday. I love San Diego. And you got Superbia as a present? You have to DM me and tell me what you think about it. I really want to know what you think. That's my comic book, if you're not aware. 16 issues that I wrote a few years ago. Chico's about to finish Jupiter's Legacy. Ivan is eating some birthday cheesecake from yesterday. It's birthdays everywhere. Oh, cheesecake, delicious. Jorge is going to bed in Toulouse. Bonne nuit. Bonne nuit to you too. Noah Jacobs says, I'm going to college at Fordham Lincoln Center this fall. The congratulations. That's fantastic. Beautiful campus. Let's see here. Brian Robertson says, my dog Fittich is waiting for me to feed him. Oh, sorry to hold you up, Fittich. Jay King says, in Manhattan, baking a peach cobbler, watching Mayor of Easttown, and my favorite YouTuber. Thank you. I'm enjoying Mayor of Easttown. It's great. 3 episodes to go. I don't know how they're going to wrap it all up. Damani Lovell says, hi, Grace. Glad I made the stream. I'm eating Chipotle. Delicious. Carlos is also eating Chipotle. Jinx. I love it. Dax Symbiote is getting the second jab tomorrow. Fantastic. Remember, you're 2 weeks after your second jab before you're fully vaccinated. Dominique is eating an egg and cheese sandwich. Yummy. Watching your video and working on a Black Widow project. Ooh, Dominique, very interesting. Dogomania says, my team lost the championship game tonight. Aww. So I will eat ice cream in a sad mood. Don't be sad. There is always another game. Hey, CTG3. Let's see here. Alex DW says, hey, Grace, hope you're well. Early morning here. Just woke up on the day off. Need coffee and to binge The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You're going to have a good day. Callum Rudy says, just finished my first year in film school. Congratulations. Bam says, hi from London. Just finished watching the Brit Music Awards. Surprisingly good show, though it's safe to say there are no superstars for this current generation. That's an interesting observation. Chris is in Queens. Just got home from getting my second dose of the vaccination. I like your emoji choices there, Chris. That's wonderful. Tabitha Place says, I got a new treadmill delivered today. We'll start walking on it tomorrow. Oh, that's wonderful. Fitness goals. Argus says, much love from Michigan. I'm watching Jupiter's Legacy. I hope you're enjoying it. Alessio Bracco says, it's their birthday. Oh, I'm so happy you decided to spend part of it with me. Huntley also enjoyed the Brit Awards. Dancing Dog 60 says, I'm getting ready to make hamburgers on an actual grill for the first time in a long time. Delicious. Let's see here. Evan Moore says, woke up with a cold in Ohio, but your stream is already making me feel better. Oh, hooray. That's great. Chicken soup really does work, as they say in the Batman animated series. Stu Pew Pew says, a few of us are camping in the woods watching a horror film each night this week. Boy, that sounds really scary. Harlequin Dove says, son just arrived home. Oh, hello. That's fantastic. Juan says, the live stream is my break. I'm really stressed. I have a big exam tomorrow. Oh, don't worry about it. You're going to do great. It's good to be a little worried, though, because that means you're on it. You're on the edge. You're firing on all cylinders, hopefully. I always get nervous before I do anything that's important. Every time. I even sometimes get nervous before I'm making a video, especially when I'm like some breaking news. I'm like, oh, I want to make sure I do a good job, but I have to do it quickly. Oh my gosh, it's really, and then I'm like, oh, I got to fix my hair. It's crazy. Thank you, Nicholas. Ben Sfarag is getting ready to sleep and is, as usual, in Hungary. And Given by Gabriel says applying for the Producer's Master's program for UCLA. Oh, that's an excellent program. Good luck, Gabriel. That's fantastic. Let's see here. Cesar Coronado says, I just picked my scripts for my writing program apps. Oh, that's great. And then Barbie Minaj says, watching Jupiter's Legacy and eating popcorn in sunny Ohio. You guys are great. Oh, and Jay Terrell says, celebrating graduation. Congratulations. Oh, that's wonderful. You guys, I love hearing what you're up to. You guys are doing such great stuff. All right, I'm going to get going. Tomorrow, I'll be reacting to the Forever Purge trailer, and I'll also be doing Army of the Dead. There might not be a stream tomorrow, but if there isn't a stream tomorrow, I will make it up with a stream on Thursday, because I want to try and do 3 streams this week, okay? So there will be a stream. There will be 3 streams this week. It'll either be tomorrow or it'll be on Thursday. All right, everybody. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. See you soon.